Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today for grammar, we are going to talk about diagramming infinitives that are adverbials, right? So that should give you a hint. What part of speech are these infinitives acting as? Well, if they're adverbial infinitives, they're acting as adverbs. Therefore, the majority of them will be modifying the verb. Yes, an adverb can modify other adverbs or adjectives, but typically when we have infinitives acting as adverbials, they're going to be modifying the verb. Now, there's a couple questions we should add to our list of questions that the list of questions whose answers indicate an adverb. Our adverb jingle says how, when, where, I think is where it is left at. There's a few that we should add in there. So let's think about these. How, when, where, why. Why did he do it? Under what condition? That's kind of a quirky one, but it answers a few it makes some adverbs clear. To what degree? How far did it go? Another one is for what reason? I guess that's kind of the why, but why or for what reason? Those are some important ones to recognize as adverbial markers, especially for infinitives, okay? So we're gonna read these sentences first, and just like we've been practicing, we're going to squiggly underline the infinitive itself, the verbal itself, and then we're gonna circle the infinitive phrase if there is one. You should have these notes. They're in that grammar packet that I sent home with you. I believe it's titled Diagramming Adverbial Phrases, something like that. Here, I'll open it up and see. It is titled Diagramming Adverbial Infinitives is what you want to be looking for, okay? And there's some more information on there just for you to read if you are confused later on. But let's look. We've already practiced how to diagram an infinitive all by itself. If you don't remember how to do that, look back at your notes and it'll show you how to do that. But let's look at sentence number 1. Read along with me in your on the note page and squiggly underline the infinitive, circle the infinitive phrase. Okay, the feisty little Hitler spoke rudely to annoy Dem. So find the infinitive in there and go ahead and squiggly underline it. To annoy is our infinitive. And is it a phrase or is it just the infinitive? It actually is a phrase. To annoy whom? Dem, direct object. Okay, so there's our infinitive phrase. Now, let's find out what type of infinitive is this? What is this phrase doing? What's its purpose in the sentence? The feisty little Hitler spoke rudely. Now, what bit of information does to annoy Dem give us? The feisty little Hitler spoke rudely. It answers the question, why did he speak rudely? That's where we need to add that question into our adverbial markers. He spoke rudely to annoy Dem. What was the purpose of his speaking rudely? It was to annoy Dem. So this is going to just be an adverbial infinitive. And we diagram it just like anything else that modifies the verb. So let's go ahead and diagram our sentence first. You can fill in the blanks on the page in front of you. But it looks like this. Let's see, our subject is little Hitler. Our verb is spoke. So little Hitler spoke. This is simply a pattern 1 sentence. Subject, verb, nothing fancy. What kind of little Hitler? Feisty. Spoke how? Spoke rudely. Now we just need to attach our infinitive, to annoy Dem. Remember, the infinitive itself is diagrammed just like a prepositional phrase, and it's describing spoke, and so it's going to hang off of spoke. To annoy. Now here's where we get fancy. This is where it stops looking like a prepositional phrase because it's a verb here. To annoy whom? Dem, direct object, goes right here. And I think that's the whole thing. The feisty little Hitler spoke rudely to annoy Dem. So this is where, do you see, if you understand adverbs and how verbs are diagrammed, and then you understand infinitives and how infinitives are diagrammed separately, putting them together into one thing is not hard. It still is a modifier that hangs off of spoke. And then we just diagram the phrase just like it would be as if it were a sentence, right? It's its own mini little unit up here. All right, let's move on. Let's try sentence 2 on there. Your sentence 2 is, Dim's response to Max's insult returned good for evil to show his love. Okay, let's go. I would like for you to go squiggly underline the infinitive in that sentence and circle the infinitive phrase, please. Dim's response to Max's insult. Is insult here being a verb? Nope, it is being a noun, so that's simply a prepositional phrase. Returned good for evil to show, show is a verb. To show what? Love, direct object. So there we have our infinitive phrase right here. What pattern is this sentence? Let's go find our verb. Dim's response to Max's insult returned. Returned is our verb. Returned what? Good, direct object. So we know it's a pattern too because it has a direct object. Can you find the subject? There's a lot of nouns up there. Can you find the subject? What returned good for evil? Response returned good for evil. Dim's is a possessive noun adjective, but it is an adjective describing response. Insult is an object of the preposition, so it can't be the subject. And Max's is also a possessive noun adjective describing insult. Okay, go ahead. See if you can do this one all by yourself. I think the model is there for you to fill out. See if you can fill it out all by yourself, pause the video, and then come back and we'll do it together. All right, so only keep watching if you've already filled out the diagram as much as you possibly can all by yourself. Okay, so response is our subject. Response, whose response? Dim's is our only modifier for response. Oh, nope, I lied. To Max's insult, which response? The response to Max's insult is also a modifier. To what? To insult. Whose insult? Max's. Okay, there's our complete subject. And we'll put our verb line here. Returned. And I'm going to give myself plenty of room because I know I have some things that need to go underneath returned. Returned what? Good is our direct object. Oops. For preposition, for what? Evil, object of the preposition. Now, to show his love. Can that describe evil? Is it evil to show his love? That wouldn't make any sense. To show his love, could that describe good? I suppose you could say that this is an adjectival infinitive, and if you really want to make that argument, you would hang it off of good. But I think it's much more clearly answers the question, returned why? Which is an adverbial question, and so it's going to hang off of returned. So then we're just going to put our our infinitive, to show what? Love. Whose love? His. Right there. So diagramming infinitive phrases should be an easy next step. You just need to determine what it's modifying, obviously, because we're studying adverbial ones in this worksheet. All of your infinitives on this worksheet will be adverbial. And if you need to go back and look at how to do an infinitive, just flip back to earlier in your notes or go into your English section of your binder, and there is an infinitive in the reference packet. There should be diagramming infinitives in there as well. Okay, that should get you well on your way for today's homework. I will talk to you later. Bye.